and Arab reaches there in no time. And mind you, in Middle East, first Toastmaster Club was in Bahrain in 1964. So this is the first Arab ever to reach to the finals. At that point, I was thinking, how did I do it in one go? You have to pass 25,000 candidates and people who are running for this title all over the world. How did I reach there? And I'm the only Arab, and all others are, speaking English as a mother tongue. So when I came back to Bahrain, everybody was like, wow, Bahraini did it. I was a little bit on the newspaper and Bahrain TV a little bit, but there was a bit of waking up moment for everyone. Like, okay, we can do it. You spoke English and it's not your mother tongue, and you were one of the top 10 speakers in Washington, D.C. So questions came up and surfaced. But inside of me was this question, how did I do it? Was it, first time, lucky man, something like this, like we say? And no, never. There has to be something that led me to this stage. So I was going up the hill, but I didn't know that going up the hill will take me here. And 2006 was a turning point for me. I looked back to my teens. I remembered when I first said yes to the first speaking opportunity. I said yes. And my friends said, no, we don't want to do this. And I said yes. I was selected as an MC for an occasion in Bahrain. So I said yes. And then I applied my learning day by day. Before I go to speak in that, when I was teen, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to prepare. They told me you will introduce speakers, but definitely an MC must do more than that. He has to engage, he has to keep the enthusiasm and keep the time and keep, he's the host anyway. Yeah. So I went to this Ustad, we say, the teacher in this neighborhood, and I said, how can I go about this? They told me to become an MC. So what shall I do? And he gave me one line, which is a golden line. And as you see, this is a half full cup, right? I was an empty cup. So the advice he gave me poured in directly. So the space was empty. So I, with full innocence, I applied it literally. And I know you and your viewers might say, what is that advice? Believe me, if I said it, and you will go down, it could, 5 letters advice. And I applied it immediately since then with no question. And little had I known that this advice actually permeated my being, the way who I am. It went with my style, with my approach everywhere. Like it was the golden rule that blinks every time before I speak or prepare for speaking. And I applied it. That's it. I had nothing else. No training, nothing else. And I didn't know it was so successful, effective until 2006 in Washington, D.C. So wake up call. Look at what you were doing, Muhammad. There's a difference, Muhammad, between knowing that you're good at something or being good at something but not knowing that you're good at that, Actually, you can go about your life and keep being the best person, best version of who you are, and inspire the world and do your job without having to analyze, who am I? What makes me so good? Come on, we don't have to go into that. But if you came to know, if fate, universe, God opened your eyes on your strength, then your journey will be different. Then it is a responsibility now. Then today you know. Yesterday you didn't know, but today you know. Now the question is, what are you going to do with it? Now you know that you have this strength, this gift. Are you going to keep it for yourself? That was the question for me. And I kept it for myself. Yay! Keep on practicing it. Use this gift in speaking. Become one of the best speakers in the safety and health, occupational safety and health environment. And name was going wild in the arena of health and safety in the Gulf. I was hosted in Saudi, and so it was good for my income, and still the gift was there.
Wasn't identified.
I did not identify to anyone. It was for me only. I kept practicing it.
Okay.
So, but time and life and people were not happy with this. Tell us, what makes you so hired a lot?
Yeah.
What makes your speaking schedule so busy?
Yes.
Although, Mohammed, I don't have a book.
Yes.
And I don't have a website.
Yes.
And I did not achieve the World Championship of Public Speaking per se to become one of the champions.
But
I only scored fourth.
Yeah. Finalist.
Yeah, finalist. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not in that Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And yet my schedule is busy. So there must be something that makes me ongoing. And people are curious. Teach us, tell us. So from a public speaker to move into public speaking trainer was not something that was, attractive for me. Now, you are a skilled person in your own arena. And each one who listens to this podcast is actually good at something. Right. The moment they decide to step aside and take some break from doing into teaching the doing, that's an enormous decision to make in your career.
Big decision.
It's a big decision. It means the joy of doing something will be reduced, and then you have to teach others.
Yes.
Number two, it means that whatever you were doing and it was inspiring people and making lives better, whatever service it is, it doesn't have to be speaking. Carpenting, pharmacist, or whatever you're doing is so good that it's helping people, making lives better, even if you don't see it.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you take a break and say, no, I want to teach this. Come on, I have to make courses about this online. Hey, man, it brings extra income. What happens? There is less of you, the genius out there. And people are getting less out of you out there because you decided to teach. It's okay. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. But you have to know the stakes. Okay? And number three, if you decide to take a break from doing to teaching, your expertise and the level of mastery of your subject will reduce because you're doing less of it, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing less, but you're teaching more. And if you're teaching more, how come you teach something which you are doing less than often before? Now, I am aware in sports that a cricket coach might have been a star one day. And he's no longer playing. Okay, that's good. Now he can teach because he went the full length.
Yeah.
And he knows the full ups and of the whole, 360, the whole 9 yards. But sometimes you're so good in your industry, and then you take a break and you want to teach because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
The master class. There is this.
Yes.
So you have to strike a balance. People want you to teach, but you also want to keep doing what you love.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I started teaching public speaking, and it was a wrong decision.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I didn't say this before. And I don't want my kingdom of public speaking training.
Do you regret for that?
No, I don't regret. That mistake was meant to be.
Okay.
Because the finding I'm about to tell you, or the 3 findings I told you just now, it wasn't possible if I didn't do that mistake. Okay? So I had to go through this. So I started teaching public speaking, but I cannot. I felt I'm doing regular classic public speaking, and I'm not telling the gift, the secret which my master gave back when I was a teen. I never said that. Because I said it's too heavy for others to get this. They just want the public speaking, the outer face of it. How to be good, how to be confident. That I can do for you. And when I did this, I became normal. and I took off. I took time off my speaking, and I missed speaking. I missed playing basketball. I was playing a basketball. It's like missing going to the court and doing slam dunks and and making 3 points. Whatever you loved about public speaking, you're going behind the lines and only pointing at people. Do this, don't do this. How fun is that? You tell me, how fun is that?
Yes.
All right. You're doing this beautiful podcast, and suddenly you will have to open another podcast or another channel to teach
This stuff.
This is
How
stuff.
to do it.
So guess what will we miss? We'll miss Kazi,
Yes.
the master of this podcast. All right. So I tell my students now, be careful. If you want to teach, I can help you. I am trainer of trainers, okay? Approved from UK. But be careful. If you want to step into training, then you will miss doing.
Yes.
And you are mastering the thing, etc. So I started teaching public speaking classic way because that's what's in the market. Then I became one of many.
Yes.
One of many.
Yeah.
I'm happy doing my keynote, my signature programs, which are unique, like the program called the One and Only program. It went across the globe. I traveled with it. Now I'm teaching public speaking 101. Okay, why am I doing this? So then I shifted. I said, let me teach the secrets. That secret that I was given back when I was young. And actually, when I sat down, I looked back at my 25 years of speaking. I gathered every secret I can, and it came to 10. So I called it the top 10 secrets. And I said, okay, I want to be authentic. I don't want to teach public speaking 101. Anyone can do this.
Yes.
Let me teach the top 10 secrets. So with my enthusiasm, I made another mistake. I went publicly. I said, hey, who wants to enroll in this program? So I accepted any group, sometimes free, sometimes a seminar, and a big shock. People were like looking at me like this. You know this look on their face? What on earth is he talking about? Literally.
Okay.
And I still remember in Dubai, that lady, when she said, she was looking like this, looking at her. This is a waste of money. Give me back my money. Okay. So I said, Muhammad, what on earth are you doing? This is only in your head. There is no such thing as the top 10 speakers, top 10 secrets. You go and apply it, practice it. No need to teach it because no one will believe you. But in that gathering, there was one guy who was enlightened. I didn't know. So he called me later. He said, Muhammad, I am going for World Championship. And whatever you said is, to me, the thing. I said, really? Yusuf? He said, yes, Muhammad. And in fact, I will make another setting for you. I'll bring specific people. I know my friends who are, some of them are spiritual artists and managers, but he handpicked them. I will do everything. Please deliver the top 10 secrets again in a more elaborate way. That was my turning point, Muhammad.
Amazing.
Everybody there were transformed. There were people who kept quiet for decades, and they opened up about things they never thought that they had, like their relations. And I remember in one of the gatherings, one lady said, she collapsed because the top 10 secrets brings the real human out of you before you speak. She collapsed. She said, I'm 17 years divorced. And I kept quiet about this. And everybody else was like, she said, today I am different.
Wow.
And 2 years back, she announced that she got married. I had nothing to do with this. I am only a speaking coach. But she told me in a gathering only 3 weeks ago. Online, she said to everyone, I was in this man's program speaking. At that moment, I decided to get married again. And I was like, how can speaking do all this? Okay. So there I believed, Muhammad, there is something special I can give. Not necessarily the thing that's out there. So you have to stick to what makes you special, what you believe in. And this was history. Then I only delivered this I call it master class. Nothing else. If you want me to teach you public speaking for business, okay, I have trainers, which I will show you. Or if you want me to come to your company, I will do that. But that's not where my joy and where I'm centered is. It's not. So it's been like this. So yeah, all the way.
Amazing. So usually when you're getting into like training or speech, of course I'll get into your this pinnacle which you have reached, but I would like to know like what goes inside you, what is the internal things happening, because I'm sure the secrets which you are talking about are something related to internal, and that is what I was discussing in the Rajesh Rich. So something whenever we are going for any speech, it's a normal human tendency that we will have some kind of nervousness or something happening inside, which nobody talks about usually. Yes. This is something I want to know from you, because you seem to be very confident and very easygoing.
Well, what I go through whenever I speak is what everyone goes through, and nervousness, and will never go away. It will be at a degree when you start, and then it has its own path when you go further into your speech. So there are, there is a curve there, but everyone has that curve anyway. The point is, what have you done early enough before you reach to the stage of the stage, pun intended, right? So there is work that you have to do before on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are very difficult questions that you have to pose to yourself.
Yes.
And the biggest question is, why do I want to speak? Why on earth do I want to speak? You have to remove all the unnecessary goals, like finite goals, short-lived goals, materialistic goals, which you are all entitled for, by the way.
Yeah.
It's really fine to speak and get paid for being a speaker. Definitely. But if that is what's your, limit, that's your highest goal, then your speaking will be limited, your energy, your fear will be more always. So, that fear goes away when love comes. Love is the opposite of fear, not courage. So, if you have love, then you can conquer fear of public speaking. The techniques and breathing techniques will do very little, by the way, and they are very short-lived, short-term, okay? Yes. And maybe you need them. Even when you have, managed your inner things and you have done those things for yourself, but you will need breathing at the end of the day, all right? Yeah. But you have to ask yourself those big questions, which I ask in the top 10 secrets, right at the beginning, all right? So I actually push them not to speak. They have enrolled to speak, and I challenge them. You have to win this debate against me. Why do you want to speak? So your why has to be very strong. Wow. To the degree that you will decide that, okay, I want to speak, but not about this. Okay, now I get you, Muhammad. I don't want to speak about this, but definitely I am not going to give up speaking about this subject. Good. Good. That's a good beginning. Why are you not willing to leave this? Let go with this. Then we work on that subject which he says, I have to speak about this. Then we find the rationale, we find the fire inside, we find the boiling, and still I debate with him. Don't speak, Baba. Write a book. Write a book.
Okay.
Do a blog.
Okay.
So we do all this funneling and screening and filtering until we reach to that spark inside of him that I must speak.
Wow. Okay.
If you catch that spark, that spark will grow by itself and it will burn everything around. And burning and fire cannot be resisted.
Yes.
Never. Any fire you see cannot be resisted, all right?
Right.
So it has to be a ball of fire inside of you. But at the beginning, I have to challenge you and tell you, don't speak. I'll pay you your money back. Don't speak.
So this is what you always feel. Yeah. You make sure you're clear.
I make sure, do I really want to speak about this? Okay. Is it because of the check? What if they invited me for something that I am, 25% expert in, not 100% like health and safety? Do I want this? I have to ask myself, questions before I go there. So if you work on yourself, then you are much likely to be a better performing when you go out there.
That's why you think in the schools also it's not taught. Do you think that is the reason? Because public speaking in the schools, it's something we hear from only the best ones. They select only the best talking speaker or speaking boy or girl, and they choose them and then push them. Or that's how it is happening all over the any school systems which we have.
Yeah, that's a good example, Mohammed. Now, these youngsters, now we are not talking about professional public speaking. Yeah. Because when I say professional public speaking, I mean that you are an expert in your subject matter and you have gained years of experience. Then you are entitled to speak about only about that. Okay? Not just go out there and speak about anything and everything just because the social media allows. And the legislations allow you to go and open a room and teach. Because that's the case now.
Yes.
Okay. Before, it's only authors. Yes. Before, it was only doctors.
Experts.
Now, anyone can speak. So that's a big challenge. Well, now we're talking about young people, which are the kids at school. Yes. Now, they don't have any experience in life, right? No career. So, we want them to stand and speak just to adopt the skill.
Yeah.
Okay. And in my book, every kid has the right to speak and be given the opportunity to present in every subject that they are learning. I remember I was in Kuwait in one of the institutions, oil institutions, oil and gas institutions, and there were doctors and etc. and MBA holders and staff, 19 persons. And I was with them 1 week to teach laboratory safety. Is my experience, laboratory safety. But I'm also a public speaker. So each one of them daily, I try to make them stand and speak because we do exercises and I want them to do workshops and stand, present your ideas, present your findings in this risk assessment. Okay. So standing up and speaking is the norm with me. By the end of the week, we made goodbyes and everything, good comments, feedback, etc. And this young lady, came to me. I think her name was Fatima, and said, "Mr. Muhammad, I can see it in your eyes. You are wondering why, whenever I stand up and speak, I'm so confident, right?" I said, "Yes, you read my mind. How come?" She said, "I was born, and I'm a Kuwaiti, but I was born and raised in Canada. And in Canada, from the first grade, every grade, we have to stand and speak. No exceptions. Every student has to stand and speak and present. This is the norm, Mr. Muhammad. But in our countries, I feel bad that it is an exception, not the rule. Yes. We want it to be the rule. Now, back to your comment. That's why when a student stands and speaks, gets an A, because the teacher will mark this as participative, for example.
Yeah.
Actually, it shouldn't be the exception. Yes. It should be the norm that every kid stands and speak. Why create stars and heroes out of standing and speaking? Why speaking and presenting has to be something only for few kids? Because they choose to do so and we don't have time for others. So my call, everywhere I go, I say this clearly. It shouldn't be an exception. I know there are awards and contests and speaking contests, but we are only making the situation worse. Every young man and woman has to start speaking before they go to college. Otherwise, why do I get all these requests from students? We cannot manage our jury. There are law students who cannot speak 2 sentences, and I'm brought to the university from time to time to give a lecture or a workshop, but for 2 hours. This is not going to solve the problem.
Yes.
Then even beyond the college, men and women who are at work, they suffer. They discover that they are so good in their work. They understand, they are certified, they are qualified, but they cannot participate in meetings.
Cannot express it. Yeah.
There are managers in banks. And they said, Mr. Muhammad, I reached to a point where I am so experienced. But now to become an area manager in my field, I have to speak properly in the conference call where our boss is, and I cannot. I feel so So who's responsible for this? Why didn't we build this in our education system like in Canada? It doesn't take anything. Just allow each one of them to stand and speak so that they'll be okay. You know, my company gives the service, and it's a bit of profit for me. So, by default, by definition, I am gaining from the suffering of the parents. True? But it's not a good scene. It's not a good scene. So when I went to the top 10 speakers in Washington, D.C., the message I wanted was, it's not only Mohamed Ali who can do it. By the way, my name is Mohamed Ali. There are a lot of us in Bahrain. Stop playing this game of first Arab, only Arab, which is good for my profile. But what about the rest of my countrymen and women? There are a lot of us. So you have to break these barriers. I tell the Bahrainis, you break the barrier. Don't tell me we have expats here in Bahrain and we cannot speak, we cannot outspeak. In fact, the expats are helping you. I know this for sure.
Yes.
And I'm good in speaking because of the Filipinos, Indians, and everyone around me who supported me and helped me. You have a wealth in Bahrain. Don't tell me English is the problem. Just break the barrier. But of course, there is a part of this goes to the educational institutions. They have to do more than just what they are doing.
It's strange, Yani. Are you really working on that to really government level?
We are working. Yes, we are trying to approach. And I hope someone hears us through your channel. And this is for the best of the students. We want confident future Bahrainis, don't we? We want confident. We don't want them to be dwarfed in front of every. In fact, one of the managers, ex-managers in a governmental body, he said, Muhammad, you won't believe, I am in charge of recruiting Bahrainis, and they are so good, and they are so competent. When we sit across the table, Muhammad, they lose the opportunity because of their inability to express themselves clearly. His CV is rich. We know he's good. But I cannot pass them, nor can the panel pass someone who cannot speak and utter 2 sentences. So, this very important moment in his life is lost because of what? Not presenting. We could have avoided this early on back in the schools and the colleges. I hope all Bahrainis...
How about your experience? Yeah? I'd like to know your teenage experience. How did you really got that confidence in you? Because I'm sure you must have gone through something, or you stood up, you had initiation from your side, you participated in something. That's why it was okay, you were getting selected, or you were going yourself. Yeah, something must be there.
Okay, that's a good question, because now I'm 51, Qazi, all right?
Oh, okay.
And when people ask me, because I speak more to youth now than ever, and I have to recall, where did it all begin? So at least I remember the first instance where I said earlier, and that is when no social media that time. Of course, we know this, of course. Okay, so I was 18, 19, where we were the boys in the neighborhood, and the guy said, who wants to be the MC? I said, me. Everybody else was relieved when I said me. I said, I will be the MC. He said, Muhammad, good. My son, you will be the MC. I said, I will be. What is MC? Really, even if he described, I have no idea what is MC.
Okay.
Now, I said that I took this idea from my master, but I'll say something else now here. This is what I do now in my public speaking courses. When I have my trainers teach, youngsters, there is no like optional, okay, son, daughter, who wants to speak? Anyone? No, Mafi. Okay, we say in Bahrain.
Everyone.
You have to stand and speak.
Wow.
There is no excuse. There is no, actually, you have to stand and speak. What I did at the beginning, which helped me all the way like a chain reaction, I tell them, you have to do it now, son. Now. It's now or never. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? If not here, then where? So do it. And after 2 days, they are thankful. Then after years, they come back to me. Thank you for forcing us to speak there. So if there is one thing you need to do now, everyone who hears me, is just push yourself and say yes to any speaking opportunity. Do not put this off. So this is my experience as a teen, which made all the difference, and the chain reaction continued. I'm glad I did this when I said yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So, now that was like you are helping already, which is like I have to appreciate for that. So I'm like worried about like even me, if I want to catch up the competency level of speaking, 10 hours mastering is crazy. which is like any competency or any skill, if anybody wants to develop, it requires a time. How do we catch up the speed now? Which is like, I don't think everyone can really do it without any mentor's help.
See, I did this without mentors, and I'm glad that I learned public speaking practically by myself, by my experiencing trial and error, until I joined Toastmasters, and it was a very good help. Now, mentioning Toastmasters, by the way, you can join any club of Toastmasters and you can start on the right foot and gradually grow through a very systematic program, and that will take your hands. Okay? Very systematic. But you're right. Speaking is everywhere. Now, you cannot actually run away from speaking.
Yes.
And I remember one doctor who was Pakistani, a friend of mine. He said, he said to me in one gathering, Mohammed, I don't know why I am not like my friend. Who's your friend? He said, me and my friend, we are the same university. We graduated the same degrees, same honors, and we have the same business, same experience. But he is always called for conferences to speak. He always goes for, forums, and he's everywhere lecturing, speaking, not me. He's not better than me. Well, guess what? He answered. He goes and speaks, and you don't. As simple as that. So this is unfortunately true. Brian Tracy says that if two people are of the same experience, but one of them speaks more often, then guess what who will the people call expert? They point at the second person, the speaking expert. They will say, he's more expert, although he's not more expert. He just speaks more. So if you are in any occupation and you're doing well without speaking, good for you. But if you think you need a nudge, but if you think you need more attention to your job, maybe you should start speaking. And now I see doctors, lawyers asking me, can you help me to speak through Instagram? Some of them are doing without help, and good for them. So that is not to put the pressure on every professional and every profession that speaking is a must, add on. No. If you're doing well, your reputation is good, you are a good surgeon, you are a good chef, you don't have to open an Instagram account and speak.
Yes.
You just do your job. Do the magic, because your work will speak for you. But speaking is permeating, going everywhere. And now in corporates and companies, people are not able to advance if they do not speak.
Yes.
I had this one lady who is one of the executives, but she says, I'm the only female executive. And guess what? When I present in front of them, the whole, men gathering. I can see it in their eyes. Sometimes I can hear it in their words that I shouldn't be there. And who are you to talk? And she had this feeling, all right? She wanted some special training. Anyway, but I got this insider who tells me that it's happening there. And I don't know how much more is happening out there. So now entrepreneurship is actually more than ever.
Yes.
And an entrepreneur has to pitch.
100%.
So there you go. There you go, Muhammad. It's everywhere.
It's a crazy challenge for anybody. Yeah. But I felt like it's not about only about giving information. Even I interview doctors because I come from background of pharma and medical, and I can feel it. Like some are informative, but some are storytellers. Some are statistical.
Yes.
Some are very very smart in pitching the idea and humorous like you. So I'm like, why it's not possible for everyone? I mean, this is something has to be learned. This is a skill.
Yes.
And from your experience, how are you very much good at humor and storytelling? I think within like 15 minutes we heard many of the stories. For sure.
Yeah.
This is something we have to see from others also, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you another story, which I hope it lands to the point that you're looking for. So there was a CSR project in Saudi Arabia in the Eastern Province, and it was, corporate social responsibility, and it was about food waste. And the authorities there, they agree that food waste is a problem. Okay, they have the numbers, and they are working on it. Okay. So this company wanted to do something in that area, and they wanted a program, and they wanted speakers, trainers to go to schools, girls and boys, and a full-length program. So I didn't know about this. I came later when they called me from Bahrain, because the branding company is a British company from Bahrain who's doing all the collaterals, doing all the program and training. So they hired Bahraini trainings. One of them it was me. But I was selected to do what? Pitching. They said, Muhammad, the program is ready, the company, all the authorities are okay, but there is one last step we have to do. We have to pitch the program and the scheme in half an hour to 5 parties. One of them is the top authority in that city. And with their signature, with their yes, everything will be in place. The Ministry of Education, access to the students, everything will be okay. But we have to give that pitch, and the pitch has to be in Arabic. Remember, they are a British branding company. And they showed me the slides. And I looked at them. It's, flow charts. We'll do this very beautifully done. Okay. Stage number 1, we'll do this. Stage number 2, this. And all very colorful. And I looked at this. I said, when do you want me to deliver this? They said, tomorrow. 24 hours? You're giving me this now? Okay.
All informative.
And I got it very informative. Exactly, that's the word. Very informative. And I know deep inside, informative will not convince. It will convey. But you want to convince, right? So I had to drive to Saudi Arabia with these 2 female executives at the back.
Okay.
British. They have to be there to see this happening, but I'm delivering in Arabic. So on the way I'm driving, and I said, ma'am, I will add a story. No, please don't do that, Muhammad, don't do that. These are authority people. These are the authorities, government people. Don't do this. I said, okay, these are government people. They are humans. I knew this part was lacking. I said, ma'am, you hired me. Trust me for this. And inside I was shivering because, all the thousands of dinars were at stake because of that pitch. And all the trainers, all the experts, all the executors, the company who's sponsoring, waiting for that half an hour pitch. And I went there and I added my story 3 minutes before I go into the 30 minutes of information. And I delivered that story. The authorities jumped. Even the top man there, he said, this is exactly what we want. pointing at the story which I said. And even the British executive said, wow, Mohammed, what a great job you've done. It really wasn't because of the information, but it was the passion that came out of me from a story that really happened in my life. All I did is I linked it to this, food waste program. And it made all the sense. So if you know something so well that is part of you, you believe in it to the roots, you don't worry, just say it.
Yes.
You don't have to actually enact a lot and embed a lot of techniques. Like you see, I'm not doing any, I'm natural, right?
Yes.
So it came out of me, and they awarded the program the yes and this. After that, it was history. So my advice to anyone else is not to be good at speaking. Speak at what you're good at. Reverse the equation. You want to be good at speaking, Muhammad, I want to be a trainer. Mr. Muhammad, I want to be a speaker, but I don't know in which category. Well, I'm sorry. This is the wrong side.
Yes.
You have to go at what you are really good at and then speak about that. I'll assure you, you will not need me. If you believe in the things that happen to you, if you have seen and experienced what you went through, come on. We don't need a trainer for public speaking. I am feeling I'm ruining my business in your podcast.
No.
I feel I am.
No, because I'm like just trying to understand why I did not bring you earlier. So it's very much interesting when it comes to understand a whole question. You made it very simple. It simplifies that. This is what we are to focus on. Which are you good at? Focus there. I'm it's very simple and straightforward. So another thing is if we are talking about speaking, it's not just speaking now. Whenever I'm talking, you're 100% listening to me. You're trying to comprehend. This is what I want to really learn also. Listening and comprehending things like a journalist, and how it is done, what are the facts and what are the figures. I have to really find out and really come back and give very simple, information or simple thing which will convey the message, which I was wow, this is very nice when I listen to you. So how about communication with the listening and comprehension power? Do you think this is also a part of it?
Communication is a whole cycle.
Subject itself,
we know receiver and sender, receiver, coding, decoding. We know this cycle. So not to pull this interview into a workshop and scientific thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is that your communication with yourself is essential. People don't take the time out to have a meeting with themselves.
Yeah.
We are always busy
Yes.
meeting others, okay? Have you scheduled a meeting with yourself? And I mean really honest meeting. Not just have a cup of coffee and by the seaside. Did you really talk to yourself? Did you, in fact, listen to yourself? Steven Spielberg says in one of his graduation ceremonies that he was delivering the speech, he said to the students, you need to listen to there's a message inside of you, a messenger who's talking to you, okay? I don't want to say your heart, but he said something, not heart, but listen to your own voice inside, which is you, not other people's voices. The problem is it's whispering. And outside it's so noisy. It's a noisy world. You need to listen to your whispering inside. The problem is whispering, but you have to take time and listen to that whispering. In one of the gatherings in virtual 2 years ago, it was for Kerala area, and they were managers, etc., doctors, and so I was talking about professional speaking. Okay. And at the end of the program, this doctor came up and I delivered the model to them, which is basically what I told you. If you're good at something, then speak about what you're good at, right? Don't go here and there. And he said, I'm 30 years, I'm a heart surgeon, and I have no idea how to become a speaker. I joined Toastmasters, and I have no idea. I said, doctor, you tell me in these 30 years, okay, what is that one thing you believe in? What is that one thing you learned? Immediately he said it, which I don't recall, okay? I said, okay, good. You believe in that thing. Why do you believe in this? He said, because this is happened continuously. I told him, can you recall an incident where it did happen? He said, yes, actually. They brought a patient, and the only way was to do this and this, but we couldn't until we found another way to bring, to rescue him. And we were successful because of doing something different. And that's why I believe now in this principle of so and so and so. When he finished, I said to all the attendees in the Zoom room, ladies and gentlemen, what you have just heard was a speech. And they gave him a big round of applause, and he was astonished. I said, doctor, you just delivered the speech. Because you told me what you believe in. You told me sincerely what works. And you actually gave an evidence from a real incident which happened to you. How more credible can you be? This is the credibility we are looking for. Pharmacists speak about pharmacy. Accountants about accounting. I don't know. Doctors, anything, all right? And technicians about whatever.
Artists.
Do not jump here and there. Then you can help a lot of people. Because one for all, one thing will help all, and all for none. Sorry. Again, I'm saying this. This is one of my rules in speaking. One for all and all for none.
Beautiful.
If you take everything, you want to speak about everything, you will help none. If you speak about one thing, focus on one thing that you really know deep, dive inside, then you will help many.
Am I ruining your business now by taking the secrets?
No, I spelled them. Last night I had an event and I spelled a lot of secrets.
Already.
Let people use this and make the world a better place. Because we have many speakers, that's another dark fact I keep saying. We have a lot of speakers, but the world is not getting better.
Yes.
Until the speakers decide to only focus on what they are passionate about and professional about and experience about. Something you know very well. If the whole world comes against you, okay, you will still say, this is the truth that I believe in. Then this is irresistible.
Yes.
It's another Elon Musk in his own, in his own.
Yeah, beautiful. About thoughts on persuasion now. No. So, persuasion is something every field, every person requires in sales or any field they go for. It's not only about speaking. You can also use your communication skills there. Right?
Absolutely.
I think today we face a big challenge of this. Even if digitalization or any technology come in, we still have a job to do. We still have work to do. I think this is the area which I feel like persuasion is something can be positive and negative.
Yeah.
So how do you really explain when you are saying the persuasion, whether to inspire or just to get jealousy and do that, just to achieve one, something in your life? How are you teaching that way?
It's very tricky.
Yes.
Very tricky. Qazi, maybe that's why I avoid teaching speaking.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to the mastery level or master class.
Scary also,
Yes, because anyone can master the art of persuasion and use it in the
wrong
way.
Things, yeah.
Okay? So, doing the right thing, you do the right thing, but for the right reasons. Sometimes bad people do the right things, and sometimes good people do the wrong things.
Exactly.
So I cannot actually pick people and I say they are righteous. And then I say, okay, let me teach you speaking.
Yeah.
All right. We can never do
cannot,
this. Okay? But we can give the tools and we can say the truth, okay? And even if it goes against my earning, like some people want me to, just Muhammad, give us the techniques. And I tell them, it will not help you. It's only short term. And sooner or later, your speaking will go down. You want the real thing or what? Okay? No, I just want to win the trophy. I just want to, outperform others. I said, this is the wrong reason. This is the wrong reason. And I cannot help you much. All right. So persuasion usually is about persuading people about things they already know. Like, I know that I know that smoking is not good. Okay? Smoking is not good. But I do it anyway. So how do you persuade me to quit smoking? You cannot give me more information because I saw all the information.
Yes.
I saw the facts and statistics. So the art of public speaking comes here. It's an art with giving the ethos, pathos, and logos, like Aristotle said. Yeah. So you have to gather all of them. I remember in Jordan, okay, I was speaking in a safety conference. I was the keynote speaker, and I said, "How many of you smoke?" Imagine, everybody raised their hands.
Oh my God.
Everybody smokes, and I showed them smoking kills sign. How many of you will smoke? And they said, "We smoke." Sorry. None of them lowered their hands. And then I went into another mode to prove something in leadership. Anyway, it was about behavior. But I told them something else in a persuasive manner without them feeling. And I finished. Okay? I had no idea that outside the room, in the break, Omar will come to me and say, "Muhammad, I stopped smoking 3 years ago. And I promised my wife and children I will never smoke again. I was a heavy smoker. But after what you did today," and then he said, "But here in the tournament, we are in a tournament, all right? Conference, few days in Al-Aqaba, beautiful place, beautiful city." He said, all of us are men. My wife and children are not there. So I bought a packet and said, okay, just for old times. But what you did inside the hall, I went outside immediately and crushed the cigarette packet, threw it outside. Even here, I decided not to do this. And I'm like, it was only a safety behavior point of view. Okay. I didn't mean to convince them.
Okay.
It was that powerful. So persuading is very important. Unfortunately, we can persuade people of evil things also. So the wrong people can get this technique and you can never stop it. Hitler.
Biggest example.
Yeah, 8,000 speeches. 8,000 speeches. And he moved the nation to a disaster. So it can go both ways. It's very tricky.
Yes. It's like, it has to come back to the context development and how they are developing the context. So,
but you see, Akazi, it goes back to the professionals. If you're good at something and you speak about it, then no one else will come.
Yeah. You will make it clear. Yeah. As a good speaker, you need to be a good, having the presence of mind. Yeah. This is something secret, I believe. Not everyone will have, even if they have the skills. Throughout a session, I have to appreciate that you are completely present. And I also, this is something which I learned. Being present, listening to the whole thing is something which is kind of spiritual, I think. What do you think about that?
That's a whole...
It's a secret.
You are actually taking one of the secrets
important,
out.
Secret.
So here's the thing. Many people define public speaking as thinking on your feet. You heard this before? Yeah. To think on your feet. That means you are able to think clearly when you're on your feet in front of the audience. And to me, I don't say that. To me, I say you have to not think when you speak. It's like driving, At the beginning, when you drive, the first days of driving, you have to think actually, oh, did I do this signal? Oh, did I use this? Okay, so you're thinking while you're driving. But come on, today, do you really think?
No. So in the beginning, I was having a tough time to, set up things. Now,
It comes
Yes,
naturally.
yes.
It's like second nature.
Yes.
So a good public speaker actually reaches to a stage which I call in the masterclass freedom. And freedom means freedom from all the thinking and thought processes. Finish. You do the thinking before speaking. You do all the arrangements. Let the mind do its work before. You put the plan, you put the structure, you organize everything, but then when you go on stage, you do not think. It's internalized. It's you speaking. So I say in a part of this, you reach to a stage where you do not deliver your speech, but your speech delivers you. That is the level of speaking we want. It's like Tony Robbins. Do you think he's having a mind, his mind is speaking to him? Let me say, you have to be out of your mind.
Yes.
When
it is from the heart. Yeah.
It is from the heart. We call it from the heart, but actually your whole being is speaking. Okay? So there are no techniques, should do this. You should not talk to yourself. You are a living speech. So mindfulness is not what I call here.
Yeah.
The word mindfulness is different than presence, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the Western version of saying to be present in the moment. Anyway, but as a speaker, mind job is before. Then it's your heart and your soul and your being speaking.
Looking at the situation now social conversations are 100%. We cannot see now. It's going down. We used to have the culture of majlis in olden days. Yeah. I believe still goes on once in a week maybe, but we don't see that much now, which is missing. Conversations happening in masjids or any cultural centers. There was this kind of environment for people to talk.
Absolutely.
It's missing now. Social media is just texting. Very hard to see somebody really talking. We have phone calls free, but still we don't really communicate. How to really reclaim this social situation? Yeah. What do you have? Anything for these kind of people who are really missing out, becoming isolated, man? They are missing out real conversation. I really appreciate those people who talk. Why? Because they are bringing back people to express themselves. If you don't express the mental health issues, all the problems which we see is because we are not able to express.
Absolutely. The scene that came to my mind is a few days ago. I was watching on NBC the movie The Fifth Element, about the life of Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, and the actor. I love this actor, Benedict. What I forgot.
Kubasam.
Yeah. Okay.
Benedict
So
Kubasam.
I remember he's talking to the Guardian representative, listening like this, and he said, "This is the first time I hear someone speaking for 9 hours and say nothing." And says nothing. He was speaking for 9 minutes and says nothing. So there is a lot of talking out there. But how much of that is saying and actually conveying? So although we encourage verbal communication, because without verbal communication, I will not understand you and you understand me. Okay, my point of view. I highly encourage. I remember one lady joined my Me No Speak English program, right? And I asked them, why do you want Me No Speak English? Each one of you, right? Everyone, I respect their drives, okay? And she said, Mr. Muhammad, I'm wearing hijab, okay? And as a Muslim lady, I was ridiculed once from a foreigner in English. She was making fun of my hijab, which is the scarf. And I wanted to explain my point of view. I couldn't. So I decided to come into Me No Speak English and at least go back and speak for myself. There's a lot of propaganda everywhere. And we think we have our prejudice and assumptions about the West, and they have about us. And the East like this, and now everybody is going into compartments, all right? And it's always us versus them. So it's very important to create that communication, that face-to-face communication.
True.
Not media writing, texting, and video documentaries which are very selective
Yeah.
and do not show us the big picture.
Yes.
So the only way to conquer this is me with my flesh and blood go out as a Muslim, speak, or as a Bahraini or Arab speak, and show who we are actually.
Right,
okay,
right.
and so at that level, this is very important. Okay, to go and speak and encourage. We cannot say do not do this. All right, we cannot say, for example, we need conversations only. I agree with you. Okay, we want our families to speak again and face to face. So what is happening in social media, Instagram, live shows, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
Let us create, Richard Branson is going, or Robert Kawasaki goes there on LinkedIn and speaks to people. Seth Godin, I'm a big fan of Seth Godin.
Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah.
And he speaks to people. He is available, he's visible.
Yes.
So whatever your position is, go there, encourage speaking. This is the only human thing left for us.
Yeah.
Even if it's through social media, which is trying to dehumanize us, not intentionally.
Yeah.
It's the way we use it, actually.
Yes, exactly.
All right? But at least we can have this channel and screen and go and be ourselves and speak to each other. Whatever degree or quality it comes, let it come. Because this is how we speak at home. Let's do it on social media. So at one stage, we need to encourage this, at least. Okay?
Beautiful.
But at homes, again, people will watch this podcast through their phones, most probably, right?
Yeah.
But they have to anyway.
Yes. So coming back to you again, you are not sharing secrets. It's okay. If you have some of the secrets we wanted to know, so if you can share.
I am saying them, by the way.
Already we are trying to take it, inshallah. So coming back to you, what makes you smile, basically? Is it only this passion for helping people speaking, or speaking in the programs or events, or something else is also there?
I will say this. I was for long, I mentioned in one of my programs, which is called Pursue Your Purpose. Okay. And I mentioned the 3 stages of you actually evolving as a human being, living his purpose. And at one stage, you will excel at what you are excelling at, and you will receive awards, applauses, ovations, titles, and you will brag about them. And whatever you do is magical, and you're enjoying it, and people are cheering for you. They cheer for you. But you have to move beyond this stage to a stage where you cheer for people. How did I discover this? I was at one stage after the 2006 national champion speaker. So I went into speaking, and I'm enjoying the stages and being called as one of the top 10 speakers. Okay, good. Enjoying. Then I created a program called Me No Speak English. By accident, by the way.
Okay.
By demand, because people say, how come you speak English so well? You're Bahraini. Are you sure you're Bahraini? And I'm like, yes, I am Bahraini. Maybe you studied in private schools. No, Baba, I studied in government schools. Then how come your English is better than us?
Okay.
And I was annoyed by this. I don't bother. I teach health and safety in English. So the locals, some of them were suffering. And they say, these expats, they know English more than us. Please help us. What is your secret for good English? And I'm like, I do not know. Wallah al-azim, I do not know. Let me finish the course.
Okay.
But they insisted. They keep insisting. And so I stopped the program for some time, and I teach them, okay, this is what I do. I went back to my life. I said, what was I doing so that I speak English well?
Okay.
At least above average for Bahrainis, okay? Okay. And I discovered 4 secrets. Now, don't tell me you want the 4 secrets now.
At least this.
I called them the 4 secrets, but they were
nice.
4 things, behaviors I kept doing on and on and on in my life. I was not aware of, but because my fellow citizens, they insisted, I said, I need to help them. Okay. So after some time, this was so happening too much that I said, okay, enough of private teaching. Let me just open a hall in Bahrain and I will call everyone to come. I will give you the 4 secrets. Okay, and we charge 3 dinars only per person because we have to pay for the rental of the hall. I said, okay, what's the name of the workshop? That was in 2015. We said, okay, let's use Me No Speak English. Famous. So, and it was intriguing. And I saw that day more than 70 people marching into the hall. Parents bringing their kids like this, as if they are going into a big festival. I didn't realize the problem is that deep. Because Me No Speak English is something that many suffer, but they do not spell. They are suffering in silence. Because I know English well, I don't feel what they feel. So it resonated with them. Then I said, oh my God, this is serious. Then moms used to bring their kids. Please help my son love English. Please help my son to graduate. They don't care about English. You know, moms and dads, they have crossed that stage and they have seen that if you're not good at English or good enough, then you will probably miss a lot of opportunities in Bahrain, right? Yeah. This is a fact. They know, but the kids, they don't know. So I started receiving a lot of requests. And since 2015 until today, I have traveled all GCC countries. I have covered around more 6,000 students in Me No Speak English. Just carrying my bag and teaching in colleges and everywhere. What should you do? And you should believe in yourself, etc. So it worked with many people. Now, here's the catch. One day when we were doing a practical thing, so after Me No Speak English, I take them into another gathering where there are expats. And I try for the expats to be actually, Western. Their mother tongue is English, and most of them are so nice. I just tell them, sit inside with my students, speak with them. Will you please? Sure, we will do this. We prepared everything. I take photos, and I have karakti, and I just take photos of them. And then when we finish 2 hours, this lady comes to me, says, young lady, Mr. Mohammed, you have no idea who I am now. She was so scared into going to this room, looking at those blonde, Americans. And suddenly she comes out, okay, so I can speak English.
Confidence, mashallah.
Just by applying the rules I teach them in Me No Speak English, okay? Even partially. Just you need to believe in yourself, all right? Believe in yourself and do something which I tell you what to do. Point. When she said that, the joy in her eyes, the spark, the tone, I felt a wave of happiness and bliss which I have never, ever experienced.
Beautiful.
Even on the stage in Washington Hilton, where I was given the trophy, it wasn't like that, Mohammed. And it repeated itself. Every time a Bahraini speaks English, after the program, I'm in tears. And I express a joy where I'm saying, God, I want more of this. I don't want to stand and cheer, people cheer for me. So I shifted from people cheering for me, to me cheering for people. This is where I found true happiness, true joy. That's what I call it, purpose. Because I found my purpose accidentally. As a human being, you have to move from the place where you just want the world to be there for you and you are the center of the world, to a point where you are actually not the center of it, because you are not. Because Allah, He gave you this gift for a reason. Like Mark Twain said, there are 2 important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you came to know why. So I don't know what your question was.
That is to make your heart smile, by the way.
That's what makes me smile now. Students who are able, by the way, most of them are adults, because Me No Speak English is actually for adults who missed the plane.
Wow.
or the train. Otherwise, I tell students, go do a better job at school because you still have time. But adults, Bahrainis who have crossed this stage, then they need help. When you help people, that's the truest joy.
Beautiful. You're giving the gems, by the way. Giving really.
So don't say at the end of the program, I did not give.
No, of course. So getting back to like speech, great speeches, very professional level we are talking. What makes such speech go viral? Is it the technique or the skill, or it's something beyond that, which is pulling somebody to have that nobles? And even your talk to me, the speech is used as a confidence presentation by many of them when they show your video that it is being used like explaining about your wife, explaining about the time. So there is something overall behind anything which you do, and I'm sure public speaking that's why is more attracting for you, so that you can really convince some message.
I have a confession, all right?
Uh-huh.
All of us, when we come under the limelight and
Yes.
when we reach to a stage and we have achieved and people interview us and they want, to ask us the questions, how did you do it? We really wish to look like we knew it was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we have no peep idea that is one was going to happen.
Okay.
Even if I write a book and I say the 5 steps to become a millionaire, the 5 steps to become a good speaker, BS.
Yes.
You had no idea.
That it will be viral.
There is no one that can say to me, I wrote my CV for the next 20 years and I know what's going to happen.
No.
BS. Because every CV you write, actually you write it about what was in the past.
Yeah.
But in the future, I dare you can. Even if you give me all this, the secret of attraction, power of attraction,
Law of attraction.
or you give me this goal setting or planning, nothing will go as planned.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
No one can claim that in the whole. But we like to show in our books, in our seminars, that we knew this would happen. And here are the top 10 secrets, top 10 whatever, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for sure.
Yeah.
I lived my life and I expected it as it came and I was happy. Even when I want to say to people, some people ask me, what were your main obstacles? And I'm looking for the obstacles and trying to put something so that I look like from rags to riches. Okay? I have to show this. Otherwise, how will it become phenomenal? But honestly speaking, I was happy, Akazi.
Yeah,
okay?
Great.
And I looked at my life. I want to put something, okay, maybe my dad was so cruel. Huh? I have to blame someone for my miseries, but it wasn't there. Yeah, normal dad, normal mom, normal life. We get beaten sometime, we get disciplined. Then I look at my work. It was very tough. Okay, everybody's work is tough.
Yes.
Okay, so was it, obstacle-free life? No, it wasn't. But there is one thing. I was happy doing what I love doing. So there were obstacles, but they didn't look like obstacles. And if you love doing something so well, anything that comes in your way, it's actually a treat.
Yeah.
Rather than a torture.
Right. Right.
So, and I had this playfulness. I don't care. I will do what I love. Okay. Now, that's why I tell speakers, are you sure you want to get into speaking? Because if you do not love speaking for what it is, and you only love it for what it brings, one moment forward when what it brings stops coming,
You stop.
you will withdraw.
Yeah.
And you will say, oh my God, I have to look for a day job again. Why on earth did I leave my job for speaking business. I saw this frequently, Mohammed. Many people, okay, because they say it's. But if you love speaking for what it is, for what it brings to you, to people, even if you go through a drought, you will continue.
Yes.
So please be sure that you have the passion. Now, I know what you asked me. Now, what makes a great speech is that you only speak about what you are passionate about. That, like Oprah said, passion is what you will do even for free. You don't have money? Okay, I will come speak to you. No problem. How many students? I will come. That's why I call the concept the life in your speech, which I delivered in Vancouver. My book, upcoming book, hopefully. If not me, no speak English, it's the life in your speech. So you have to be a live speaker. And that's why in my Instagram and everywhere, you don't see I am a speaker. I'm a life speaker. So it's all about your life. Are you willing to talk about your life? How deeply? How broadly? That's what makes a great speech. That's what makes a great speech.
And this is what I like when you were sharing all experience. That makes clear, and it makes real feel. It's something which everybody has to really experience. I'm sure by listening to this podcast by now, you must have liked it, and I still have it. I still am gonna catch him and ask a few questions. We have rapid fire questions, but before that, I should acknowledge for what you're doing, and I appreciate how you're finding out time for people, and also having clear context about what you're doing. That makes something special in Righteous Rich podcast for me and anybody getting it.
I'm blessed. I feel
I'm blessed to have you here today. But at last, what is your advice for the young generation to develop their communication skills? Basically, of course, that is one of the pillars of leadership also. And I'm sure if this advice can be given in this time, basically, which is very speedy and noisy, and I think this is something very much required. After listening to you, I feel like there is a bigger responsibility for us to really bring this word out to people, that it's not only for experts and well-known people, it's also for someone who has to start thinking about it in the beginning itself, even if they don't have the context in their life. I think something to worry about. So what is your advice for such youngsters?
Do what I did when I was young, at your age, and say yes to the opportunity. And if you have a chance to speak, raise your hand. Okay? If nobody else raises their hand, raise your hand. If nobody gives you a space to speak, you make the space. You insist. Because you're going to thank yourself 10 years on. You're going to thank yourself that you did something which made you the confident person you are. You don't want to be at 25 and then you say, God, what happened to me? I cannot even say a sentence. I cannot even express myself. You don't want to be there, okay? So say yes. Say yes now, okay? Before it's too late. It will feel uncomfortable only for the first few seconds. But then you will be happy forever. If you do not do this, you will be comfortable only for a few seconds and suffer forever. Which one do you want to choose? Suffer few seconds and enjoy for the rest of your life, or be comfortable for few seconds and then suffer for the rest of your life? Choice is yours.
Great. So coming to your personal life, at least I have asked you whole thing about your competency level, your passion, which is what we are doing here. But something about your relationship, your understanding, your concept behind that also, to balance out your passion and your life. what did you learn basically? Even in at least last 2 years, we have seen the change. We have seen people divorce. It's crazy going on, and I'm sure. But you made sure everything is balanced according to your speech given 15 years back, and you're living by that. What is your?
Even my mentor said the speech you gave in Washington was a message from you to you, Mohammed. It's about your family. And I remember when I was getting ready for the rehearsals, the months before August in 2006 were very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was crushed with I had 3 boys, and I needed to pay them attention more. Sorry, 2 boys at that time. And I was lost. Why am I doing this and I'm ignoring my boys? What message I'm delivering in Washington to say to people, snatch the moment, and not paying attention to my own children. So it was personal experience as well. This personal experience helped a lot. I remember one day driving with my wife, and the title of my speech is "Talk to Me." Okay, and if you watch the video, you will know what it's about. Okay, you watch, but I'm talking to your audience. So one day I decided to practical test. So I was driving with my wife, and I decided to speak to her more because she always used to say, "Talk to me." And I talked to her, and she talked to me, simple things, and I paid attention, full attention. And it encouraged her to talk more. And she enjoyed few minutes. It was few minutes, and suddenly she stopped. And she said, "Abu Ali, wow, you're talking to me." A man talking for more than 4 minutes. It was an achievement. To me, I'm like, okay, that's not She said, "Thank you so much. I feel so good." And at that moment, Muhammad, I felt this is true. It's not only a speech.
Yes.
This is happening. I did not realize that my wife was suffering this much from my lack of communication. And I say this honestly, I opened my wounds. If you saw the speech, I'm not a hero in that speech anyway. And this is what I discovered. At the beginning of marriage, we are all best husbands, which I made my fun of myself, right? We are the best husbands on earth. Oh, we are so good. And then our wives, our better half, actually, we don't see the best out of them because still life did not come in. When life comes in, the romantic me goes down. What curve is going up? She is going through challenges. She is going through baby raising up, baby bearing, baby laboring, etc. Upbringing, house, cooking, taking care of everything. So her curve is going up. Your curve as a man is going down because you're busy with your dreams, passion, and whatever. So I called it the X curve.
Wow.
Not in there, okay. So the more we are in this marriage, the woman is the champion, in fact. That's the hidden message I said in Washington about my wife. And I remember David Brooks, the 1990 champion approached me, and he said to me, "I have been in this tournament for past 15 years. Never, ever has anybody come even close to this topic."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This topic you said about talk to me, this simple relationship between a Bahraini and his wife, he's a witness for 15 years. Never, ever anyone came close to this. Okay? That's why it was unique. But also, it sent a message about this Muslim, this Arab who comes and speaks so gloriously about women. And we think, what? Arabs are abusive to their women. Our Arabs are, oppressing women at home. But this guy is speaking something different. The way he speaks about his wife, it's not according to what the media conveys to us.
Yeah.
So there were things happening inside of me. I was challenged to keep my family together. All right, but also it had another benefit out there. So I always say this to everyone. Okay, one of my secrets. Okay, it's in a quote. I'd rather live my speech and not give it than give my speech and not live it.
Very true.
Live your speech even if you do not have to give it. If you want to become a speaker and you're not living what you're talking about, forget it. You will die, you will diminish, people will forget you.
Here and hereafter.
Live even if you do not have to speak, Baba. Yes. And then when you speak, what you speak about will be so true to everyone because you are living it in your life. That's life.
Great ending you're
giving. Life and speech.
Thank you so much for such a. It's like a continuation of that speech and completes here that you are living that. Beautiful. So I'll take some rapid fire questions, which is like not creating. Already with the conversation we had, it's nothing scripted, by the way. I never gave him anything, questions.
No.
You can ask him personally.
So no escape from this?
Yes.
No skipping?
No.
Oh my God.
No passing over. Nobody here. Okay. So how do you want to be remembered? It has to be, by the way, 3 or 5 words, not more than that. It's very challenging for any speaker to give that. And any word which I ask, it's like completing. Let's say if I ask one word which comes to your mind and you say, this is what comes to my mind. So something interesting which you know may be rapid fire questions. So what is something which you want to be remembered as?
Someone who made me speak.
Correct. So what are you most grateful for?
Mentors who come at the right time and they disappear.
What makes you angry? And how long do you take?
Not knowing how to open a conversation with Fatima, my daughter.
And how long does it say? It is.
I get frustrated. So, yeah, how to open a conversation with your, kid?
What is one thing you like about Fatima?
She is very out of the box thinker and doer. Always does things differently. She's my youngest.
Wow. So, what is one great thing people don't know about you?
I don't hate anyone on earth. I do not hate anyone. I don't have hate for anyone.
That's a great thing for sure. What is that one book which has made a profound effect on you?
The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
What is one thing you love the most about your wife?
There are too many I can't remember, but her smile. Definitely her smile.
What is your happiness to you?
It happens inside, and it is not polarized. It has no negative or positive phase. It just happens, but it's not permanent.
What is money for you?
They say financial freedom is to have a lot of money. But to me, financial freedom is not to want to have a lot of money. That is true freedom. Not learning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you do not learn,
keep learning.
That's getting old.
So, one social media influencer you think is making a great impact? Whether it's YouTube, anywhere.
Again, Seth Godin. Okay. I wouldn't call him a social media influencer, but he's all over social media, and he's so generous. And one of his rules is be generous. And he's writing his blogs since 17 years, on non-stop, every day a blog.
Wow.
And to me,
he's the one.
He's the one, Seth Godin.
So what one thing every social media should have, influencer should have?
Authenticity. That's authenticity.
So, at last, I don't want to drag you so much. At last,
It's a sprint, man.
how is the interview?
You must know that I wasn't able to say all this. There are, a handful of things I didn't say before ever.
Any place
else. And I don't know how you did it, but it goes back to being,
Yeah.
So when you are being who you are, people, they feel they are at their best in your presence, okay?
Yes.
So you create the space, okay? So that's what you did, Mohammed. You created a space which allowed me to be who I am fully. Maybe that's the best definition of the Raj.
Thank you so much, Annie. You have added such a great value to this podcast today and such a great session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And you have seen that. Did you like it? I'm sure you will like it. And you have to do this job. Just share it with your friends. Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is. All the details are in the descriptions about Mohamed Ali Shukri and his social media channels. Make sure you follow him and get all the tidbits every day. Maybe you are also social media and you're very active also. I hope.
Well,
are you? Is it your team handling or you yourself handle also?
No, I have my team only for the company, which is Y Access.
Okay.
So the Instagram of Y Access is taken care by them. That's why I'm really below average when you come to my social media accounts. Remember, when social media came, I was doing speaking already. So the shift to social media, I wasn't a speaker because of social media.
Yes.
So the stage is still mine, even virtually. With people following and giving me advice, I will improve my own social media. But you will find a lot of secrets there. I assure you. In my Instagram, you will find a lot of secrets.
And by ending this, is there any deadline you have set for the book?
For the book?
Yeah.
It is March 2022.
That's it, man. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum.